In the last 3 years, there has been one cartridge that has dominated the market while another one is trying to play catch up. In today's video, we are going to compare the new cartridges on the block. We are comparing the 6.8 Western to the 7mm PRC. The question I have is, can the 6.8 Western compete with a 7 PRC? Let's find out. Let's spotlight 6.8 Western real quick. The 6.8 Western came out probably the worst time it could come out. It came out in February of 2021. We were in the height of a pandemic, a ammo crisis. It was just a terrible time to come out. Not to mention, Winchester really didn't market this very well. I mean, they marketed it decently well for about a year, and it's just kind of dropped off since then. And due to the pandemic and nobody really willing to support it other than Winchester and Browning, this cartridge kind of fell off. However, in the last year or so, there's been a resurgence. People are seeing the awesome performance of a 6.8 Western, and we're starting to see more companies starting to support it. We're seeing more 270 high BC bullets being made. We're also seeing ADG brass being made for 6.8 Western, which is a huge plus. And I think this cartridge has a lot of upward mobility in its future. This one's not dead yet. So what is the 6.8 Western? Well, it is a fast twist 270 WSM. That's really all it is. The case design is a little different than a 270 WSM, but the parent case is the 270 Winchester Short Mag. So I always say it's gotten the 6.5 Creedmoor treatment, meaning it is a little bit shorter than a 270 WSM, and it's made to have the bullet seat out just like a 6.5 Creedmoor. Performance-wise, this thing is awesome. I have a lot of range time with a 6.8 Western with a 26-inch barrel, and it's been astoundingly awesome. We have shot 165 grain bullets easily over 3,000 feet per second. We've also shot the 170 grain Burger well over 3,000 feet per second. It has very mild recoiling, and all around it is a great do-it-all cartridge that just doesn't kick that bad. In late 2023, Hornady announced and released one of their biggest hits yet, the 7mm PRC. And what is the 7 PRC? Well, you can think of it as a lengthened 6.5 PRC or a shortened 300 PRC. The parent case to the 7 PRC is still the 375 Ruger neck down, and this one's kind of unique in its cartridge length. They wanted to fit in a standard length action or a long action, and so the case length is 2.280 inches. It's kind of a little weird, but it works. This cartridge is phenomenally accurate. I have tested the 7 PRC and I'm impressed with its accuracy. Now we'll talk about the powder gate and the velocity issues in a little bit, but this cartridge is darn accurate. So let's get to the powder gate and the velocity issues. Here's what I say. If you want a 7 PRC, get it in a 26-inch barrel, and you will get its full potential. You don't have to have Reloader 26 to be able to get that coveted 3,000 feet per second if you have a 26-inch barrel. If you have a 22 or 24-inch barrel, I think it's going to be almost impossible to get 3,000 feet per second with factory ammo. And with hand loading, you're going to have to really push it hard to get 3,000 feet per second. Let's go ahead and look at the 7 PRC load data. Now here is the 7 PRC from the Hornady book. As you can see, that case length is a bit odd, 2.280 inches. The test barrel that Hornady is saying is a 24-inch barrel. Let's go ahead and look. We're going to start at the 160 CX load data. And I think this is a really underrated bullet for any person that wants to hand load the 7 PRC. This is a really good option that I think gets overlooked. And of course, with Reloader 26, you can get over 3,100 feet per second. It's moving pretty quick. Now, the 175 grain is the most popular probably bullet choice for people, and you can get 3,000 feet per second. Now, as I said earlier, you'll get that 3,000 feet per second much easier with a 26-inch barrel. I do think it's a bit harder with a 24-inch barrel. Now, one of the great things about the 7 PRC is that it has a fast twist, so you can shoot really high BC bullets, a 180 grain at 2950, and then Hornady's Heaviest bullet that they offer is the 190 grain A-tip, and they say you can get 2,900 feet per second with it. It's a really awesome performer. Now let's take a look at 6.8 Western data. Now there's only really one spot you can get 6.8 Western data, and that's Hodgdon's website. So we're going to go ahead and look at the 165 grain, that's the AccuBond long range. And we're looking at velocities of, with a 24-inch barrel, mid 2900s, with Ramshot Grand, they're saying just over 3,000 feet per second. Now, I always say that load data is a guide. It's not really the end-all be-all, or it's not completely accurate. It really depends on your rifle. For example, we tested factory ammo from Winchester with the 165 ABLR, and we were getting an average of 3,060 feet per second just with the factory ammo. That is with a 26-inch barrel though. Now let's look at the 170 grain Burger EOL load data. Again from Hodgdon, this is with a 24-inch barrel. You're looking at a top velocity of almost 2950 depending on the powder. Now my personal results, again with a 26-inch barrel, have been a bit different. We tried out Vihtavuori N570 and we were easily able to get over 3,000 feet per second, and we're pushing over 31 in all honesty. Let's go ahead and look at the ballistic chart. We're going to start with 6.8 Western. We're going to load it with a 170 grain EOL with a BC of 0.662. And I realized that the 6.8 Western that I shoot is really fast. And so we're just going to do 3,050 feet per second to keep it under pressure, but this is still going to be with a 26-inch barrel, 6.8 Western. Energy, 3,512 foot-pounds. Depending on the weight of the rifle, you're going to be looking around 24 foot-pounds of recoil. Now, out to 400 yards, we have almost 2,500 feet per second, 2,348 foot-pounds of energy, only 22 inches of drop. Let's see what it does out at 600 yards. We are going 2,240 feet per second, almost 1,900 foot-pounds of energy, 63.9 inches of drop. Now in mils, that is 2.96 mils at 600. Now let's look at the 7 PRC ballistic data. We're going to use a 175 grain EOL. I want to match up BCs closely with the 6.8 Western, and with a 26-inch barrel I think you can get 3,050 feet per second, and you're going to be a little bit more energy because you're shooting just a little bit heavier bullet with the same velocity. 3,615 foot-pounds of energy. It's also going to have a little bit more recoil. But let's go ahead and go out to 400 yards. We're going 2,489 feet per second and 2,408 foot-pounds of recoil and 21 inches of drop. So compared to the 6.8 Western, you have, man, about 30 more foot-pounds of recoil and 1 inch less of drop. They are very close. Let's take this out to 600. Bullets going 2,233 feet per second, 1,939 foot-pounds of energy. 6.8 Western had high 1,800 foot-pounds. These are within about 40 foot-pounds of each other, maybe 50, 64.1 inches of drop, and that's 2.97 mils. So the 6.8 Western and the 7 PRC are extremely close.
If you're looking for a quick, accessible hidden gun cabinet, look no further. Bellwood Designs makes excellent hidden gun cabinets that look incognito. They unlock via these magnetic keys, and it'll unlock the magnetic latch within. Then inside is pluckable foam that you can cut out to any shape or size to conceal your firearm. To purchase one of the hidden gun cabinets, check the shopping carousel below and use promo code BulletsForBucks to save, or go to bellwooddesigns.com.
So which one would I recommend? I think it really depends on if you want to shoot factory ammo or if you want to hand load. If you want to shoot factory ammo, I would recommend the 7 PRC. There is a lot more support currently for the 7 PRC. There's a lot more factory ammo options, not to mention all of the factory rifles you can get in 7 PRC. Now, I would highly recommend the 6.8 Western if you just want to do something different, if you love the 270 caliber and you want something that's just a darn good do-it-all cartridge. You really can't go wrong with the 6.8 Western. It hits well above its weight. But in all honesty, these are so close in performance. You can't go wrong with either one. Now, one more thing I want to point out that the PRC fans will point out is you can shoot bigger, heavier bullets in 7 PRC. So you can definitely have a better ballistic advantage going up to a 190 or a 195 grain. As of now, the 270 just doesn't have those options.
Thanks for watching Bullets for Bucks. Check out this next video and subscribe.